What up, everybody? Welcome back to the Tea Drop, the only wrestling breakdown show. We don't just call out the spots, we call out the chaos and with no soft behavior energy. Tonight, we're talking SmackDown from Austin, Texas, featuring the final of the John Cena Last Time Is Now tournament between Gunther and LA Knight. Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre trying to kill each other in the parking lot. Ilja Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes for the U.S. title. Alexa Bliss versus Kairi Sane. And the women's tag team title chaos shenanigans. Jade Cargill squashing people while Giulia and Chelsea Green run an extremely different show. Solo Sikoa, a very rough promo about the Wyatt Sicks. And the build to Saturday night's main event. And the Royal Rumble potentially starting to creep in. Let's go to the top with the Cody Drew brawl as they set the tone of the show. The show kicks off with a Survival Series recap, which, if you saw my last week's show on War Games review, it was lukewarm at best. Michael Cole and Corey Graves welcome us to Austin. We see wrestlers arriving backstage. You know, the typical standard walk in. Everyone walking in. It's 8 o'clock. It's not dark down there yet. But anyway. Then we cut to Drew McIntyre getting out of the car, only to get blocked by Nick Aldis, who reminds him Drew is suspended. Drew is not supposed to be there. They argue, and before that conversation can go anywhere, Cody Rhodes jumps Drew inside the car and starts swinging. Security rushes in, pulls them apart. Drew drives away. Cody is still heated, storms straight to the ring. No slow walk, no smile, just pissed off the adrenaline. He grabs a mic and calls all this out. Says basically he doesn't want Drew gone. He wants Drew reinstated so he can stomp him out properly. He calls Drew a cockroach who will survive anything. Says that this could happen in a parking lot, a church, anywhere, but it needs to happen in a WWE ring. And he reminds everyone Drew has never beaten Cody. His promo was good. Passion was there. But I'll be honest, this Cody-Drew storyline is starting to feel a little overwrought. They needed this segment to pour some gas on it, and it helped. But the clock is ticking, so they need to set this match up quick, and they need to do it now. This feud needs escalation, not just more speeches. So it's just a back and forth at this point. We'll see how it goes. We hit to the Nets thing, but first we get a backstage segment. We get DIY talking. Gargano wants to get their tag team goals back on track. Ciampa's eyes, though, are locked on the U.S. title. Then Carmelo Hayes walks in line and says, "That's cute, but I already got the U.S. title shot tonight." Nice little thread. And that leads directly into the man holding the SmackDown right now. And that is Ilja Dragunov heading to the ring for our first match of the night, which is Ilja Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes for the U.S. title. U.S. title on the line. Ilja Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes on paper, banger. In practice, really good. With a very WWE finish. The start was insane. Hard lockup. Hard lockup. Clean break. Then it's on. Ilja hits chops and a big boot. Hayes fires back with chops of his own. Ilja tries a corner knee. Eats a super kick on the apron. Hayes also leaps at Ilja and gets chopped out of the sky. Ilja climbs up. Takes too long. Hayes yanks him down. But Ilja slaps the line out of him and boots him off the top of the floor. Off the top to the floor. Hayes clutches his knees and we hit a commercial break. Back from break, Ilja hits back-to-back German suplexes into an abdominal stretch. Hammers and anvil and elbows. Hayes fights back. Springboard clothesline. La Mystica for a 2 count. Ilja answers with a pop-up release powerbomb, but Hayes blocks the H-bomb and cradles him for another close near fall. And Ziguri to the Origata from Ilja, both guys down. Hayes kicks out Ilja to the floor and spikes him with a leaping DDT on the apron. Great visuals, by the way, so far in this match. He throws Ilja in, climbs up, and then Ciampa shows up, crotches Melo behind the ref's back. Ilya hits a torpedo Moscow to an H-bomb to a 1-2-3. Ilja Dragunov retains. The work was strong in this match. These two have great chemistry. Crowd was into it. They really were. Even if the audio sounded a little bit whatever, but the crowd was into it. But the finish takes it down a notch. Classic WWE, protect every guy in that match, but advancing a story with Ciampa. So post-match, Ilya sees the replay and is furious. Hates that Ciampa cheapened his win. That's very on brand. Ilya wants his win clean and earned because that's his persona as a face. Not handed to him by interference. It also sets up, hopefully, for a future Ilya and Ciampa match. Hopefully we'll see it in the next coming week because it could absolutely steal the show. Next up, Alexa and Charlotte, Kairi and Asuka in the women's tag. Backstage, Kathy talks to Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. Charlotte says she joined War Games because Bliss needed her. Bliss and Charlotte both want the tag team titles back, and Bliss has Kairi Sane one-on-one tonight. We cut to the ring. Kairi Sane comes out with Asuka, and we head to another commercial break. When we come back, Alexa Bliss makes her entrance with Charlotte in the corner. Time for match 2 of the night. Kairi Sane versus Alexa Bliss with Asuka and Charlotte ringside. Stakes momentums in this women's tag team picture, which started with a nice escalation on Monday Night Raw. Tie-up. Early on, we have tie-ups, jockeying for position, corner stomps from Kairi. Some fun sequences, trading roll-ups. Kairi mocks Alexa's height. Literally the only woman on the roster she can do that to. And Bliss slaps the soul out of her. STO from Bliss, flipping Santon. Kairi power over her. Bliss follows. Charlotte distracts Sane. Asuka trips Bliss on the apron. Kairi hits an Alabama slam into the barricade. And again, we go to another commercial break. Back from the break, they're fighting up top. Bliss tries a superplex. Kairi headbutts her into a tree of woes. Hits a double stomp from a big near fall. Bliss dodges the sliding D, fires up with strikes and a running blockbuster. Asuka hops up to distract, blocking Bliss from hitting Sister Abigail's DDT. Charlotte boos Asuka. Kairi nails Bliss with a cutlass. Kairi goes up for the insane elbow. Bliss gets her knees up and transistors straight into a Sister Abigail DDT for the win. Alexa Bliss beats Kairi Sane. The match was solid, nothing crazy. Kairi selling hit the still elite, but man, she deserves better than being the tag team with those ETH pins on TV. And as usual, in WWE land, tag champs losing in single matches in a tradition they refuse to go. But after the match, the post-match gets worse. Right after the match, Nia Jackson, Lash Legend, shows up and jumps Bliss and Charlotte. Asuka tries to fight them both, unloads on Lash, but Nia cuts her off with a spine buster. Lash boots Kairi, then holds her for an annihilator from Nia. Asuka barely saves Kairi. The division's a mess in a good way, and a bad way at this point. Lots of moving pieces, but also zero clearly defined top program outside the tag belts. But good nonetheless. So we'll see what this tag division is going to be in the next couple of weeks. Maybe we'll get something for Saturday Night Main Event. Actually, probably not. We'll get something in the future Raw and SmackDown. Maybe something big happens for the Raw at Barclays on January 5th. We will have to see. After this, we go to Jade Cargill in the ring to fight Alba Fire with Chelsea Green at ringside. Before the bell can even really matter, Alba Fire jumps Jade, hits a Rana in a super kick, Green cheap shots Jade. Then Kiana James appears to distract Chelsea Green so Giulia can lay her out and chase her to the back. Because of that, now Alba Fire is all on her own. She gets distracted. Jade wakes up after the beating and hits a massive spine buster. She does her pump kick, a jaded, and a 1, 2, 3. Jade Cargill wins in under 2 minutes. But here's the thing. This entire segment was clearly not about Jade Cargill. It was about Giulia and Chelsea Green. Jade's involvement feels extra like they're just feeding her mid-carders for no reason while the real stories happens around her. Backstage later, Jade runs into B-Fab and Michin, trade some barbs, and they set up another match with Michin for next week. So now Jade is fighting Michin next week on SmackDown. Probably gonna job her too. Not elevating Michin at all. Just whatever. This is just going to keep dragging Jade down into just another person on the roster territory if they keep doing this. For a woman you presented as a killer superstar, this is starting to become a problem. So WWE needs to watch out what they're doing with Jade, or her title run's going to be whatever at this point. So another promo. Backstage, Fraxium asks Aldis for a match with DIY. Ilja shows up to roast Ciampa and offers him a U.S. title match for next week. Oh, there we go. He says when he's done with Ciampa, Fraxium can have whatever's left. Then the low point of the night happens. Solo Sikoa and his multiple MFTs, multiple failing taxis, waddle to the ring for a promo on the Wyatts. So let's be nice about this. Solo is a decent promo guy, but for some reason this segment was I don't know. He tries though. He gets heat by referencing beating Sammy's crew last week. Crowd doesn't bike. Announcers he's coming for the Wyatt Sicks tag titles. I didn't even know the Wyatt Sicks had the tag titles. Shows how much I know. Says everything that belongs to Bray and now belongs to Uncle Howdy will become his. He drops a "all I gotta do is Bo leave" line, which did not land the way he hoped. The crowd hits him with a loud "what" chants, and it becomes a very rough segment. Then the Wyatt Sicks appear. They surround the ring. Uncle Howdy shows up behind Solo. They brawl, Hoss off with Thailand Tonga versus Eric Roman. They go blow for blow. Roman boots Tala out. Wyatt stand tallish as the Islanders retreats behind the invisible heel barrier where apparently no one can follow. The visuals were cool. The promo was not, though. At some point, WWE has to stop handing Solo these long monologues and just let him be a violent monster who says very little, which is what he did when he started in the main roster. He was just a silent destroyer. Him talking, they're trying, but it doesn't seem to work. He should just go back to being a silent assassin. And maybe the same thing, I mean, the MFTs are silent at this point, but they just, I don't know. Something's not working. They need to fix it. I don't know how. Backstage, Miz annoys Nick Aldis. Aldis shut him down. Bayley strolls in, flexing she's on Saturday Night's main event while The Miz is not. Aldis rewards that energy by booking her versus Sol Ruka at Saturday Night's main event. So there we go. Another match known for that next week. Bayley and Sol share some words. Then Kathy talks to Gunther. He says his name means victory in any language. He's going to beat LA Knight tonight and make John Cena tap out at Saturday Night's main event. Puts over the locker room full of hungry wrestlers who wanted this spots and remind us he tore through them. Says tonight is just a preview. But before even that match started, we also get a great Aleister Black vignette on Damian Priest. Black basically says Priest is broken. He stands by people who would never stand by him. Calls himself everyone's enemy, but the only one honest with Priest. Rhea Ripley is tempting him back to a fake version of himself. If Priest wants to walk through the Inferno, Black will be his Virgil to Dante and guide him through hell. Zelina chimes in and calls them the Terror Twins and warns Priest that Rhodes ends with him alone again. This is one of the few stories in WWE is telling right now that feels layered. It's more than just we have a match next week. So a slow burn match. A slow burn so far in storytelling. Next, the main event. And the Cena last time is now final. It's time. Finally, it's time. LA Knight versus Gunther. Winner goes on to face John Cena at Saturday night's main event and the final singles PLE match of John Cena's career. Quick note. We went about 30 minutes between matches here. Between this match and the last one. That's a quarter of the show for a wrestling program. Not great pacing at all. Just wanted to point that out. But when the bell rings, these two deliver. They start with a classic stare down. Gunther pie faces Knight. Knight fires up. Heavy strikes stomp in the corner. Then Gunther answers with a chop. That sounds like a gunshot. They each dodge their finish. Gunther powers him. Knight hits a sliding dropkick through the ropes, and we go to picture-in-picture. The first picture-in-picture I've seen in a while. Anyway, during the break, Knight bounces Gunther off the announcer's table, repeatedly throwing him over it. Back inside, Gunther regains control with an uppercut, a big boot, and a lariat. Back in the break, Knight fights out of a suplex into a neckbreaker. Gunther cuts him off with a slam, briefly grabs a sleeper. Knight sends him out again and hits a diving clothesline from the apron. On the floor, Gunther delivers a chop and a back suplex on the apron. Back to the ring. They kept going in and out, in and out. Make your choice. Gunther punishes Knight with a corner knees, a stomp to the back, and those precision chops with wrist control. Knight eats one, pops up firing, dodges another, hits a leaping clothesline and a leaping neckbreaker. Gunther avoids blunt force trauma, or BFT. Knight hits an O'Connor roll. Gunther transitions into a sleeper. Knight uses the Bret Hart corner counter for a near fall. Knight even busts out an attitude adjustment, followed by his safe burning hammer for a 2 count. We go to picture again while they both recover. Final stretch of this match. They trade boots and clothesline. Both men are down. On their knees, they chop and punch their way back up. Knight rocks Gunther, stomps him in the corner, hits a running knee, goes for a second knee. Gunther snatches a sleeper. Knight counters with a back suplex. Knight finally hits the Megastar elbow for a close near fall. Gunther dodges BFT again. Hits a brutal German suplex. Target Knight's neck. Lariat folds him, but only gets 2. Gunther goes up. Knight trips him, then trades shots. Knight tries a superplex. Gets shoved off. Gunther hits a top rope splash to the chest, then another to the back. Another 2 count. Huge powerbomb from Gunther. Still just a near fall. And then in the end, Gunther slaps on a sleeper. Knight fights up as much as he can. Gunther hammers him down with elbows to the neck. Reapplies the hold. This time Knight couldn't escape. He fights, but eventually has to tap. Gunther wins. No shocker to anyone. Gunther faces John Cena in the final. And that's SmackDown for you. He stares at the camera and talks trash just like this to John Cena. And that's as much of a promo you're going to get between John Cena and Gunther. Maybe you'll get more words from Gunther next week on Monday. But that's all you're going to get. It's just him talking. Unless John Cena And WWE agreed to do an extra date just for him to show up to do a little trash talk himself. Unless he does it via satellite. Does that count as part of the days? Anyway, this was a good 4-star main event. As always, Gunther never does a bad match. Knight looked strong, got plenty of shine in this match, and they never felt outclassed. Gunther, though, is just on another level at this point. One of the 5 best in-ring guys on the planet right now for wrestling. The story was clear. Knight's momentum-based offense versus Gunther's cold, methodical, fundamental brutality. And the finish, Knight tapping, not passing out, puts a real danger on the sleeper heading into the Cena match. Post-match, like I said, Gunther looks into the camera and basically tells Cena at Saturday Night Main Event, you will finally give up. Perfect line to end the show. And that was SmackDown from Austin. What do you guys think? Was it a good show? Was it a W show? Or was it an show? Let me know in the comments, and thank you.